We're going to talk about melody as tone of voice. We're constantly attuned to the tones that people are using. And mainly what I'm going to talk about is in the English language, because in different cultures, there are different inflections on different parts of the words that change the meaning. But in English, for English speakers, what we're noticing is that usually when an inflection goes up, it indicates a question. And when inflection goes down in tone, it might feel more confident, more sure. But oftentimes, the inflection isn't matching what's being said. For example, if I said to a friend, "Do you like my new haircut?" and they said, "Yes," I would just notice from that inflection going up that they didn't like it. So I would say, "What don't you like about it?" And they might get defensive and say, No, I said yes." And I would say, "No, you said yes." So it's really important to think about our tone of voice as it translates to melody and think about, how do I want this word to feel? We're starting to think about the notes that we're curating and choosing deliberately to make sure we're bringing out the best in our lyrics. We want to really match our words with our tone so that it's consistent. And as a songwriter, oftentimes we're really just downloading a melody. We're driving somewhere, we think of a melody, we take a long walk, we take a shower. You know those wonderful days where you just get a melody and it's great. You don't question it. You didn't try. But on the days when we have to try, which is most days for songwriters, you can really think about the melody that you're writing. For example, I had a student in class years ago at Berklee, and she hadn't really written songs before. And she sat down to play this song that literally made the whole room hold their breath. It was one of the most stunning melodies I'd ever heard. And when she was done, I said, "How did you write that melody?" And she said, "Oh, well, I just played notes until they matched the way that I felt." And I said, that's it. That's really important when we're looking for which tones do we use. We might really be conscious about the melodic contour or the distance between intervals, but when we really think about which notes will have the most impact, we really want to think about, how does each note feel and how is this going to affect the way that my lyrics feel? As a storyteller, I want you to understand how I feel. I want to connect with you and I want to build empathy. And one of the ways that I do that is I want to make sure that the melody that I'm using is really representing how I'm feeling. We're going to talk a lot about melody as tone of voice. People that aren't really consciously, deliberately thinking about this, they're doing it intuitively. So one of the things we're going to look at as we explore melody as tone of voice as sort of the notes that Taylor Swift tends to favor as a melody writer. All right, so I'm giving away a little secret here. I've noticed that Taylor Swift really favors the second degree of the major scale in her melody. It's unstable. It supports a lot of her songs about heartache and loss and longing. It's a really beautiful note to choose as a songwriter, and I can see why she uses it over and over again. Now, if we were to call Taylor and ask her, "Why do you use a second degree of the major scale for a lot of your melodies?" she might say, "Do I?" She's very intuitive, and intuition is an intelligence that really doesn't need to be examined. She just intuitively knows this is how this should feel. That note is the note that is closest to describing how I'm feeling right now. And that's the note that I'm going to pair with this particular word.